What do vegan zombies eat?
Vegan zombies? What?
Grains.
Hungry Squared, bringing you the best food talk anywhere.
Welcome to Hungry Squared Podcast, where the brain and belly meet. My name's Sharon. I'm from the Wasatch Cooking Guide.
And I'm Winter from theredparty.com. This week, we have our Halloween special. Ooh.
Halloween.
And we're talking about scary foods and foods that kill. Yes. Let's talk about it.
Hungry Squared.
Sharon, how was your week? Did you eat anything good, bad, ugly?
Well, funny you should ask on our Halloween episode.
Oh,
I had
no.
something scary happen to me this week.
Really?
Yes.
What?
I was minding my own business at work, and it was early morning, and as is my usual, I eat breakfast at work.
Okay.
And it's about 8 o'clock, and I open my fruit and nut bar, and there's mold.
Really?
Mold. Yeah, there was like gray, fuzzy mold.
Oh, so it wasn't like something that could be, oh, maybe it's just a little flower or something like that.
Nope. Gray, fuzzy mold.
Oh.
And it was totally sealed, everything.
Oh.
The best by date is not until sometime next year.
Oh.
It's moldy.
Yikes.
So that was gross.
You're going to write in, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. So I don't want to say what type of fruit and nut bar this was, but it was one of my favorites, and I'm very disappointed. And I'm hoping to get some free stuff.
Well, I'm sorry. I feel like that they have those questions or comments,
Yeah.
those numbers that you can call into or write into, because, there's going to be times when their products, which are generally very good, something happens.
Exactly.
And so if
the website's on the packaging, I'm writing in.
Okay.
So I'll let you know what happens.
Okay. You're going to be nice, right?
Yes, I'm going to be cordial, but very pointed.
Okay.
And disappointed.
Well, you did have mold on your product that you purchased from them. So
Yeah,
I think it's
gross.
legit to file a complaint, a nice, cordial complaint. And I feel like you get a little bit more respect that way. And they are like, yeah, we're going to try and do what we can because you're a loyal customer. So
Yeah, I need compensation.
yeah. I hope that
What'd
works.
you eat this week?
So we had some amazing meat this week.
You had meat?
Yeah. So we have acquired a sous vide machine,
Yes.
and I gave it to Lee as a gift.
Excellent. Good choice.
Yes. And actually it's a Hamilton Beach, their new sous vide machine that is a combo sous vide slow cooker.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, super nice. And I was pretty excited that I was able to acquire this for him because he was so excited when I brought it to him.
I'll bet.
Yeah. And I think every single day he's gone out and done a different meat.
Has he really?
I think he has. Yeah. I think the only thing he hasn't done is salmon because they recommended not doing salmon. They say it kind of does get a little grainy or mealy.
Oh, okay.
The texture doesn't quite
cook it for a long time.
Yeah,
or something?
the texture doesn't quite come out right. So they're like, just stick with your regular route of cooking salmon. I was like, okay. So we did a steak that turned out great. We did a pork tenderloin, and I want to say that so we did a pork tenderloin. We also did a chicken breast, and pork tenderloin and chicken breast, I think, typically come out a little on the dry side.
They do. Like when you bake them, it's,
Yeah, just doesn't come out right, and
you have to bake them in a sauce, and then it's
even then,
there's no telling.
Yeah. So he ended up doing a pork tenderloin, and then he finished it off. And when I say finished it off, he grilled it on top of on our stovetop in a really hot pan. And it was amazing. It was so good. So we haven't really talked too much in depth about what a sous vide machine is, but it's a controlled, it's basically slow and low. You put your food into a vacuum sealed bag or a airtight bag, and you put it into a water bath. and you put it in there for a long time, and it cooks at the temperature that it needs to cook at. So like, I think the pork tenderloin was in there for about 2 hours.
Okay.
And then when I got home, he pulled it out, finished it off, and we had dinner. It was great.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then the other thing, the chicken breast, I feel like haven't had chicken breast. We have not made chicken breast for so long because it's just meh. It's just, it's not my cup of tea because it was always consistently dry.
I'd rather have chicken thighs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Myself.
Yeah. So we always go for chicken thigh, but that chicken breast was pretty it was juicy and it was very not dry. It was wonderful. So that's one thing. Those are things that we have been eating this week, and it has been super fun. We will let you know other things that we have been eating because it has been fun.
The exciting world of poultry with your sous vide
I know.
machine.
Well, one thing we did try that didn't quite work out well was we attempted to do a tandoori chicken. So you usually kind of bake it in the kind of this yogurt sauce with all the seasonings and everything for about an hour. And then you finish it off under the broiler or on the grill with some charcoal and stuff. But that, for some reason, it just didn't quite work out. So we might try a different recipe or maybe just chalk it up that this is one that's not going to work in the sous vide.
Try a different recipe.
Yeah. It was the chicken though was very moist, but it didn't really have the flavor that I was looking for, like that we typically get when we do it our regular way. So we'll see. I'll let you know.
Excellent.
I'll let you know. So.
And now for the main course.
Well, let's get down to our topic at hand. Scary food and foods that kill.
Ooh, Halloween. Happy Halloween, you guys.
Yeah.
By the by, are you guys getting dressed up?
I'm still thinking about it. I didn't wear my costume from last year, so I still have that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Are you dressing up?
I think so.
Are you dressing up with the little Lucy?
Yes. It's a themed costume. But we'll let you know later about how that ends up.
I think you should put a picture of that in the show notes.
If we can get that together, yes, we'll do that.
Excellent. Surprise red family costume.
Yes, exactly. It'll be fun. So Sharon, we were pretty excited to talk about this topic for Halloween because let's be honest, there are some scary foods out there and there are some really crazy foods that people eat that could kill you.
Yeah. I mean, when you look up online about like poisonous foods that kill, things like that, you get all of these articles that have like everyday things in your house.
Yeah. You're like,
or everyday things that you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like I read an article that talked about how rice can be poisonous.
Oh yeah. Isn't that crazy?
But you have to eat like something like 1,800 cups of rice in one sitting.
Right.
In order for the level of arsenic that it produces to kill you.
Yeah. So it also depends on how much. And I think I did mostly foods that will kill you. And I think that some of you can die very quickly and with not a lot with the foods that I'm talking about.
Ooh.
But I'm really excited to hear about some of the stuff that is totally scary and gross that I don't think I want to try eating.
And that's what I'm talking about today. And some of them aren't even the scariest, grossest stuff that I've come across, but I find it interesting.
Okay, let's hear. I want to hear one of your scary foods.
So our first one on the lineup today is the Big Texan Steak Ranch in Amarillo, Texas. You may be familiar with them because they've been on Man vs. Food and they've been featured in a few other places online and on TV shows.
Is this what I'm thinking it is?
Could be. They are the home of the 72-ounce steak.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break it down. 72 ounces is how many pounds?
4.5. So for all of you conversion friends, that's 4.5 pounds of steak.
That is a lot of steak, everybody.
Yeah.
And that is horrifying because sometimes I look at a steak and if it's much larger than, 10 ounces, I'm like, oh, that's...
Yeah, there's no way you're finishing that tonight.
I'm getting the meat sweats thinking about it.
Yeah, so I first learned about this when I was a young teen. So as I mentioned before, I am from Louisiana, and I went to summer camp out in either Idaho or Utah every year. And my dad loves road trips, and so he would drive me to summer camp each year.
Whoa, that's
there and
intense.
back. And so I have driven quite a bit on that 30 plus hour sometimes drive, and you get kind of familiar with the territory, and you take little side trips because you're like, oh, I've been on that road so many times before. I want to see what's down here.
Yeah.
But the Big Texan Steak Ranch, you see these signs for miles.
Oh, really?
And miles and miles.
Coming up to them. Okay. Okay.
So we would drive from Louisiana. We'd take I-20 into Dallas, and then we go up north to Wichita Falls, and then take Highway 287 through Childress. And that's Childress, this tiny town in Texas. That kind of means a lot to our family because that's it used to house a Air Force training base there.
Oh.
That was where my grandfather was at when he met my grandmother and things like that.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Okay.
They met on a bus ride. That's a different story. Anyway, so we go through these little highways and stuff, and several miles. And when I'm talking several, I mean like 50 or more. Out from Amarillo, Texas, you start to see these signs for free 72-ounce steak. And then, you go another few miles, and then there's another sign that'll advertise these free 72-ounce steaks.
I don't think that's free, right?
Oh, it's totally free.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's totally free. So
There's got to be a little stipulation though, right?
well, I'm getting to it.
Okay.
So this place, the Big Texan Steak Ranch, opened, I believe, in the 60s, mid 60s. And they were on Route 66, which was,
the famous
Route 66. It was a very main thoroughfare. And then when Interstate 40 in the 70s opened up, they moved from Route 66 to off of Interstate 40 in Amarillo.
Okay.
Just to be where
the traffic was.
Okay. The main traffic for travelers, because that's kind of that's the biggest city in the Texas Panhandle.
Okay.
And in the surrounding area of like New Mexico and Oklahoma and whatnot. So they moved there, and you see these signs coming towards it as you're moving closer, and there's nothing around. Like the towns that you're driving through are just like a few hundred people.
You blink and it's gone.
Exactly. There's no lights, like stoplights or anything like that. You're literally in the middle of nowhere. And so the last time that you had a really good meal
was back in Dallas.
A lot of times, like several miles away, probably Wichita Falls, because that's pretty.
And you're
sizable.
thinking about the 72-ounce steak,
and you're thinking, boy, that is sure a good idea. And so you decide, as you do, that you are going to try this 72-ounce steak because why not? It's free. And so you go to the Big Texan Steak Ranch, and this building itself is quite large.
I was going to
so
ask.
Is the parking lot. It is quite large. They now have like a motel there. It's a popular stop for long distance travelers, long haul truckers, and things like that. But it's good food. I will say that.
Okay. Just home cooking.
Cooking steakhouse.
Okay.
It's good food.
So you have been there.
So I've been there, but I've not eaten the 72-ounce steak.
I was going to ask. That was my next question.
One time I was really bent on getting the 72-ounce steak, but the rules. So let me tell you about these rules.
There are rules. See, I knew there were going to be some stipulations.
So it is an eating contest of sorts.
And those are just, I will say, they're
so we've
gross.
talked about eating contests before when we talked about hot dog
episode, which was horrifying.
So, but the 72-ounce steak, you're not competing against other people. You're just competing against yourself and the clock.
And the clock.
Yeah. So you have to pay for the meal up front.
Okay.
So, and then they'll reimburse you. They'll refund you, or, they refund your card, whatever.
Right.
But you have to pay for it up front.
How much is it? Can I ask?
Yeah, it's $72.
Oh.
So it's $1 an ounce.
Okay.
But then you're getting, all of the fixings with it, all of the sides.
So I'm assuming like a baked potato, some veggies. What?
Yeah. So you get a shrimp cocktail.
Okay.
You get a baked potato,
Okay.
salad,
Okay.
and a roll with butter,
Okay.
and this 72-ounce steak.
Okay.
So 4.5 pounds of meat.
Plus all of this.
Yeah, and you have to finish all of it, not just the steak. You have to finish the roll, the butter, the salad. You have to finish the shrimp cocktail, the potato, all within an hour.
Do you have to eat the shrimp cocktail sauce?
They don't stipulate on the sauce.
Okay.
But I think you
You have to eat the shrimp. All
yeah,
of
you
the
have to
shrimp.
eat the shrimp, and I think you have to eat at least some of the sauce.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're out of shrimp, if you have to spoon the sauce down or not. That it doesn't say that.
Okay. Okay.
But so here's the rules. The entire meal must be completed within 1 hour. If any of the meal is not consumed, parenthetical note, swallowed, you lose. Before the time starts, you are allowed to cut into your steak and taste it, like have one bite to make sure that you like the way it's cooked.
Oh, so you could actually send it back, hypothetically speaking.
Yes,
Like,
you could send it back and have them.
This is medium well.
Yeah,
I want a medium rare.
right.
And so they have to fry up another 72-ounce steak.
Right.
Well, that's kind of nice.
So, I mean, they pride themselves on the way that they cook it.
Okay.
They are very specific on their online menu about what the doneness is and what's recommended.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've started, you're not allowed to stand up, leave your table, or have anybody else even touch your food.
You can't stand up?
Nope.
I feel like you could get a little bit of
So you can't do the Kobayashi shake. Nope. You can't do
That's
that.
a
You'd have
shame.
to do that seated.
Okay. You could do, like, I've heard people do a crunch of some sort also.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't have anybody assist you with any of the cutting of the meat or anything else, any of the preparing to eat it.
Okay.
You have to do it all yourself. Now it says, you don't have to eat the fat, but we will judge this. So I think they judge whether or not like that
It's
gristle you
considered.
left is very gristly or not.
Okay.
So
Like you should have, if there's some fat and you kind of left some meat along with that fat,
yeah,
they're like,
no go. You got to eat it.
Yeah. Okay.
If you become ill before the contest is over, you lose. You have to sit at an assigned table.
Are those tables kind of, I bet they're front and center.
Probably. Yeah, they are, I think, at the middle of the restaurant.
Okay.
So everybody around you can kind of cheer you on.
Oh my goodness.
So
This is just gross. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's just like,
it's pretty cool. So they have a 72-ounce Hall of Fame, the 72-ounce Steak Hall of Fame. And
knowing America, I bet we've got quite a few people in that.
we do. The first person who's recorded to have eaten it was in 1965, a man by the name of Eli Gottis, and he ate this steak 3 separate times.
So he's done the Hall of Fame basically 3 times.
Yes, he has. And it's been the same amount of time each time, 57 minutes.
He's consistent.
He is consistent. So I found a couple, so they have thousands of entries, literally thousands. I think it's like over 8,000.
So they have them are people all listed online?
Yep.
Really?
They are. So it's the date that they did it.
Mhm.
Starting in 1972, they started keeping month, day, year.
Uh-huh.
Before that, it was just the year.
Okay.
And they didn't have very many before 1972, just a few. And so they've got month, day, year, name, your time, your weight, if you gave it. Some people didn't. Your age. Again, some people didn't give it, but most do. And where you're from, and then any comments you have. And the comments are awesome. Like some of them are best steak I ever ate. Some of them are where is the dessert? Some of them even commented on the dessert that they ordered after they ate this meal.
They're just gloating now.
Yeah, totally gloating. Some people were saying it's not worth it. Don't try. And some people, like there's this one guy, he's from California. He drove there to eat the steak. And then he said he slept all the way home from to California and then didn't eat for 2 days.
I would suspect that's the case. That's a lot of calories you're consuming.
Yeah. So the comments are hilarious. So as I was looking through and combing through, I was like, I'm going to find the fastest time because they don't highlight the fastest time on here. So I was looking and then I was like, oh, this guy's pretty fast. And he's from Australia.
Oh.
And he finished in 29 minutes.
No, he didn't.
He sure did.
No, he didn't.
And back in 95, he finished in 29 minutes. And then, but I was like, well, I'm only on 1995. This is updated. So then I scrolled further and found another guy from Texas, Mesa, Texas. He was 13 minutes and 30 seconds.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Where's he putting that? Steak. Let's
he
talk about
also
that.
commented on the dessert and how good that was. So then I was like, well, surely, I'm in the year 2000 by now. So I was like, surely nobody's faster than this. There was a lady.
A lady?
Last year.
Woo, ladies in the house. Good job.
April 19th, 2015. 35-year-old Molly Schuyler. I also want to note she lists her weight as 120 pounds.
No, she's
not.
So
she's just a wisp of a thing. And she finished it in 4 minutes and 18 seconds.
Okay, she probably has one of those, how snakes can open up their jaw and unhinge their jaw and just swallow whole cow.
Something whole.
Yeah, she just probably did that. Molly?
So basically by the time I've spent talking about this, she has finished 72-ounce steak, a baked potato, shrimp cocktail.
Oh, that's amazing and
horrifying.
horrifying.
A roll.
I want to meet Molly because I bet she has like I said, that weird jaw thing.
Yeah. Snake jaw. So
that's horrifying.
So good food, but I did see the 72-ounce steak. I've seen pictures and we saw it come out and we just thought when you're looking at 4 pounds of meat for one person, you're not cutting that up. You're not dividing it. It was kind of scary.
Yeah. I think that sounds horrifying because once again, I'm getting the meat sweats talking about this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ugh. And then just all the other things because that stuff's that's bulky too.
Yeah. That
the roll
might not
is bulky.
End well.
Yeah.
Just that might not end well. In air quotes.
Gross.
Just saying.
Gross. Okay. Well, let's move on to something else.
Let's move on to something that will kill you.
Yeah, let's move on to something that will kill you because that's what we're here to do, everybody. So we're going to start talking my first thing that can kill you. And I think the fun thing about this is that it looks like something that could be innocent and edible.
Oh, what is it?
It's the death cap mushroom.
Ooh.
Yes. So, and it's sometimes called the destroying angel. The Latin name for it is Amanita phalloides. I don't know if I said that right.
That sounds like a spell.
I know, right? Amanita phalloides.
Yeah, like you're going to cast a spell on somebody.
Yes. So this could probably do some damage to you, just like a spell. So you will see these mushrooms that they kind of look pretty innocent looking, actually. Their caps are kind of a pale to a greenish color. They have a white stipe, which is the stem, and white gills. They kind of look like edible species, such as the Caesar mushroom or straw mushrooms.
Oh, that's bad.
So
they look like you can eat them.
Yes, exactly. And so I think you have to be an astute forager if you are foraging for mushrooms.
And that's something I've always wanted to try is to try foraging, but this is what scares me about it because I'm afraid I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be really careful. So the interesting thing about these death cap mushrooms is that they have the thing that will kill you is called amatoxins. And the tricky thing about these, because there's a lot of things that you can prepare it and heat, cook it. And whatever toxin, whatever goes away is neutralized, is denatured, whatever it happens to be. However, amatoxins are thermostable. So that means that they don't change with heat. So even though you've cooked it or sauteed it or whatever it is, it's still going to kill you. So it
doesn't cook out.
No, this is not going to cook out, everybody. So they have said that about half of a mushroom cap will kill somebody. That's about 30 grams. And basically, the thing that is going to kill you, the specific compound that is in there is alpha amanitin, and that causes kidney and liver damage and ultimately death. And this alpha amanitin, I'm going to say that wrong every single time. I apologize. So it inhibits RNA polymerase 2, which is an enzyme that is very crucial in mRNA synthesis. And so when you block that, then you're basically killing off your cells. And then the first place after you've ingested something, what happens is that it goes to your liver, because that's where your liver is.
It's your detoxifier. Right?
Yes. And unfortunately, it starts killing off your cells there. So there is another type of toxin that is in there, phallotoxin. But, and they thought that was originally one of the things that could kill you or contributing to you getting killed. But there's been some recent studies saying that it is actually not absorbed in the gut. So it's just kind of passing through you. So it's mostly, I would say, the amatoxin that is killing you, the alpha amanitin that is killing you. Yeah. Yikes.
Eek.
I know. I just am like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Is it instantaneous?
No, in fact, it is not. Okay. So what ends up happening, and this is the kind of the tree things that, because it's not instantaneous or very quickly, shortly after eating them, is that sometimes you can't do some of the earlier things, because by the time somebody goes into the hospital for ingesting one of these, they've kind of gotten past the point where you could maybe do like gastric lavage, where you pump out the stomach, or activated charcoal or something like that, you know? So
there's no Epicac.
No. Yeah. You have gone past that point. So you can, obviously when you ingest it, and it could be a couple hours later where you start having abdominal pain, diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting, eventually dehydration from some of the vomiting that you have, and then tachycardia, which is like fast heartbeats, and then you're just kind of just in not great shape. And then when you start manifesting some of the other stuff where like you're getting liver damage, then you're going to be like jaundiced and delirious. You might have seizures, and then eventually like liver and the kidney failure come along. So, and they say that it can be you could die between 6 to 16 days.
Oh
out.
My
So
gosh.
you're just like not good in general after you've ingested these. So the kind of the way that you can maybe if you go in, and by the way, this is not a medical show. So if you have eaten a death cap mushroom, please just go into the hospital. Like, don't use what I'm saying as the way to treat.
Maybe you should try to have somebody save you.
Yes. Go to the hospital. Don't wait.
Don't keep listening.
No, just stop this and get to the hospital.
Hey, listen to it on the way.
Yeah.
That's fine too.
She just totally said that.
Just kidding.
So if you get there and they can maybe do a few things to help you out, then yeah, maybe.
All the better.
But eventually your liver's going to fail and you're going to have to get a liver transplant. So that's really the only way to get around it, because ultimately you're going to die because of all the damage that's happened to your liver. So
oh man,
it's just not good. There's not really great antidotes or cures or anything. So just be really careful. And I would say if you are going to forage, go with somebody that is knowledgeable.
Forage with care.
Yes. I found some really fun history, though, of people that have died.
Ooh.
Eating.
Tell me more.
Said mushrooms. Okay, so one of them was...
you realize this is the ghost story part of the podcast.
So Charles the Sixth, he ate some mushrooms, some sauteed mushrooms, and he experienced some indigestion. Is a good way of putting it. And it basically led to his death, of course. And this death led to the War of the Austrian Succession.
Oh my gosh.
And so Voltaire actually commented that this dish of mushrooms changed the destiny of Europe.
Whoa,
right? Another person that of note that has died is Claudius. And this is let me just make sure I've got his Roman Emperor Claudius. And he loved eating Caesar mushrooms. And so he ended up eating these. And there are a lot of speculations actually after his death of what exactly happened. Like, I'm sure somebody was trying to kill him off, but they were like, okay, maybe his meal was completely made of death cap mushrooms. Or it was regular mushrooms and somebody just put some poison in it. Or somebody actually put in, so he fell ill because he had some indigestion, right? And then somebody poisoned him afterward. And they kind of speculated it would be a nightshade from the family nightshade, which is also very poisonous. So there was just a lot of like, if you want to kill somebody off, this mushroom that looks very innocent, you could just slip some of that to them. But don't do
Not that we're making a suggestion.
Don't do that. But
Don't
do that. But I thought that one was really very interesting and very, ooh.
Yeah, that is spooky.
I know.
You want to know what else is spooky?
What?
Nutri-rats.
What?
All right, they're not spooky. They're just creepy and gross.
I've never heard of a Nutri-rat. What is it?
It's also known as a swamp rat or a river rat.
Why is it called a Nutri-rat?
Well,
I just want it to be like, you know how they have those nutritional supplements or something.
You want it to be good for you?
Yeah. A rat that is good
I'll
for
get
me.
to that point. It could be good for a few things. So, a Nutri-rat is a swamp rat or a bayou rat. It's a semi-aquatic animal native to South America. And the Nutri-rat were introduced to the Louisiana marshes and bayous in the 1930s.
They were introduced.
Yes, but they were put in fur farms to be raised for their fur hats and things.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, how big? Can you tell me how big they are?
Like a dog size.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're kind of large.
They're basically an ROUS, a rodent of unusual size.
And you will see them referred to as ROUSs online.
What?
Yeah, it's large, but it's rodenty in that like a squirrel is a rodent.
Okay.
So it's not as rat-like as like, you know, a New York sewer subway rat type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have really long and hooked teeth that are bright orange. So they're gross. Like their faces could be cute maybe, but they have these really funky bright orange teeth. Like it needs to go to the dentist and it hasn't. And so if they went to the dentist, maybe they'd be cuter because then it'd be like a large marmot or something.
So we're talking about this rat, and I'm assuming you're going to talk about how this rat is not being used for fur.
Well, I'll get to that. It is being used for fur.
Oh, okay. It is. Okay.
But it's eaten up miles of the coastlines in Louisiana.
Because it just is.
Yeah. So what started off as, I want to say it was something like 20 Nutri-rats or something like that in the 30s for this farm has exploded. These Nutri-rats can have up to 3 litters of pups a year, and each litter can have up to 13 rats.
Oh my goodness.
So they breed like crazy.
Okay.
And it's becoming it's becoming a huge problem in Louisiana. It's eating away at the coast and eating away at the marshes, and it's an environmental problem.
Yes.
So there is a task force.
Of course, there's a task force.
It's called the Louisiana Coastwide Nutri Control Program, and it announced back in 2002 a $5 per tail bounty on a Nutri-rat. Cutting the tail off essentially kills it.
It does?
Yeah.
Wait,
they can't reproduce or anything.
Is the tail like, does it look like a rat tail?
It is a hairless tail. It's kind of a thick tail. It's gross looking. If you ever watch any of those reality TV shows featuring Louisianians, you will see some Nutri-rat hunting.
Really?
In some parts, they're just more or less like roadkill. So yeah, but you can actually turn their tails in and get money.
$5.
So people call it a redneck income. Just saying.
You know,
but it's $5.
Work is work.
So they introduced this $5 a tail bounty in the hopes that with a goal of harvesting about 400,000 Nutri-Rats annually. And right now, they roughly average about 304,000 tails per year. So
That's
it's
not
pretty
bad.
close to goal. They have things from Nutri-Rodeos where they gather them up, and also sheriff-directed Nutri-Sewer hunting.
Oh my goodness.
It's pretty entertaining to read about and gross at the same time.
Yeah, that is not
so
awesome.
It's also it created an interesting phenomenon as well, that people, they feel bad that they're just chucking out this whole carcass, right? And so why not use it up? And there has been other programs and businesses devoted to using the Nutri-Rats that you find, and also publishing recipes for these Nutri-Rats. So you could have a Nutri-Rat spaghetti casserole.
Oh.
This calls for, let's see, how many? It's not specific on the amount of Nutri-Rat that is required for this recipe.
Oh my goodness.
It's 1.5 pounds. So you could
That's
probably
about
use you could
2.
probably use like just part of your rat,
And you can save the rest for later. Freeze that meat. Yo.
But it just says pre-cooked Nutri-Rat and enough water to make 2 quarts of stock.
Oh my gosh.
Which sounds really gross.
That
but
sounds
I'm
really
sure, like, I have tried some things living in the South that I never would have thought I would try. So maybe it's good.
I
don't
have
know.
eaten.
Don't dismiss it.
Yeah, I was
Maybe
about to
it's
say
good.
I've eaten a lot of stuff that I love, but that's because I grew up with just like weird cuisine sometimes, and so I shouldn't dismiss it, but that just doesn't sound that great to me. Sorry.
Yeah. But another so if you're not interested in eating it, maybe you're interested in wearing it.
Oh.
The Nutra has even gained fashionable notoriety. There is a artist named Cree McCree, and her Nutra-based clothing line is called Righteous Fur.
Oh my gosh.
And she came up also with a whole jewelry line made out of Nutra teeth
Oh my gosh.
and outfits out of the Nutra fur. So she was upset because people were throwing the Nutra back in the swamps after they cut off the tails, and it depletes the oxygen in the water. So she's this weird hippie that wears Nutra fur. They have Righteous Fur has an annual event called Nutrapalooza in New Orleans that brings together fashion designers to create outfits out of the fur.
Is it soft? I mean,
Well, apparently it's soft enough that some well-known designers actually want to work with it.
really? Okay.
So it's because it's becoming this eco-conscious fur.
Yeah.
Because you're
They're
saving the
getting-
wetland
Mhm.
while destroying this invasive pest. I'm sure that's not really PETA approved. So
PETA, don't write us
yeah,
letters.
seriously, I know that it's bad to wear fur.
Yeah.
But Christian Louboutin, is that how you say his name? Of the famous designer with the red soled heels.
Louboutin?
Louis Vuitton.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So he created a pair of non-Louisiana Nutra fur pumps.
Whoa.
Yeah. Several seasons ago. And as recent as 2012, some New York Fashion Week models were walking the runways in Louisiana harvested Righteous Fur.
Oh my goodness.
So, hey, it could be a thing.
It could be a thing. I mean, if it helps, I just don't know if I would eat it. It just
Maybe.
sounds
I mean, it's disguised in spaghetti. How bad can it be?
spaghetti casserole.
With rat.
And orange teeth. Okay, I guess you
Yeah. So,
could de-teeth it, right?
yeah, those teeth are creepy looking.
I know.
Like they are bright orange.
That's so weird. I wonder why they're
They're-
bright orange.
I don't know. They're gross. So, gross food.
Gross food. Yes. Scary food.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do a quick one about something that could kill you if you eat it.
Ooh, what?
So in Japan and South Korea, a pretty common, fun dish to try and eat is live octopus.
Ooh.
Yes. Have you heard of that?
I've eaten jellyfish. I've never eaten. No, I have eaten octopus.
Yeah.
Wait, live octopus?
Live
Sorry.
octopus.
Live. Alive.
Yes.
The
Alive.
octopus is alive.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, me either. It's called sanakji. And in order to prepare properly, so it really is a live octopus.
But people eat it.
But people eat it. So
It can kill you.
Yes. Let me tell you how. I know. This one's a quick one. And I'm just going to tell you that I can maybe see the appeal in it. There's a little bit of, yeah. So what happens is that you get this octopus, and they're not huge, right? They're, I'm trying to think, several inches long. And one, you can do a couple of different ways. You kind of pull down its legs and kind of stretch it out, and then you put it down, and then you chop it up kind of in small pieces while it's still alive.
Oh, so you're killing it on the plate.
Yeah. Oof. And then you go ahead and just pop it in your mouth and you chew it. And there are some people that have described it, the articles that I have read, that have said that the little suction cups are sticking to the inside of your mouth. And so you have to chew it up because it's still kind of, they're like,
that's going to get in your throat.
Yes. And that's how you can die from this, is that sometimes you can also, let me just tell the other way, is that you take the whole octopus and you wrap it around your chopsticks, dip it into some sauces, whatever you'd like, and then pop that entire thing. It looks like an octopus lollipop, and then you just pop it into your mouth and you start chewing.
So how big is this again? You're wrapping it around your chopsticks.
So I would say that when you wrap it around, it's probably about, I want to say 3 inches.
So it's a tiny little.
It's not huge, but
octopus.
But when you put it into your mouth, all wrapped up with all the tentacles and everything, it is. It's a mouthful, I would say. So you're just chewing, and octopus is chewy, people. Have you had octopus before?
I have had dead octopus.
Yes. Cooked
quite
octopus.
Chewy.
Yes, quite chewy. And so they do this. They eat live octopus because they believe that octopus it helps build your strength and stamina. They say that
you have to chew it so long.
They say there's actually quite a bit of taurine in it, which is supposed to help with your
energy
and
stuff. They put that in an energy drink.
Yep, exactly. And so there are a couple of times when people have choked because those tentacles have grabbed on and kind of got stuck into the throat because they can't get it to go down. So there was a girl with her boyfriend. They bought a couple of octopuses and brought it back to their apartment, and then she choked on it and died.
Oh my!
Actually,
gosh.
I say that she choked on it. They got her to the hospital, but she died 16 days later because of that time of not having oxygen. And it was dismissed that was just totally an accident. But then the case was opened back up again because they found out that the girlfriend had taken out a life insurance policy just a few days before that incident. And so I think eventually the guy was cleared, but it just looked a little suspicious. But yes, a tentacle got stuck in her throat. And then in 2003, a kind of a very rich businessman, Korean businessman, his daughter was seeing this kid that was Korean also, but he was grew up in the States kind of a deal. And he did not like him, and he was trying to intimidate him and everything. And so he wanted to do a full-on traditional Korean dinner. And so there was a lot of things that would be difficult for somebody that was not a native to eat, and a lot of live things and such.
Oh.
So one of the dishes was a live octopus, and this was the one where you didn't chop it up. This was one where you kind of just eat it whole. But this kid, he was keeping up with this all the food challenges basically that this guy was throwing at him. And he finally was like, I'm not going to eat the live octopus. I just can't do it. And this businessman, he's like, oh, you're a weakling kind of a thing. Popped the full octopus in his mouth and started, he didn't chew. He just swallowed it whole. But then the octopus basically was trying to Get out.
That seems unsmart to not chew it.
Yes. And so he basically died of asphyxiation because it was not good. So it can kill you, but I think it doesn't have to kill you. You just have to do it right.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. It just, there's very few things that I've never eaten anything that is alive still. So,
Well,
I'm good. So
I have.
you have?
Yeah.
Is this your next scary food?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk
Speaking
about
of
it.
food dares. So one of my dear friends, he lives in California
Mhm.
and was visiting. This was several years ago. I don't know, over a decade ago. So it was a long time ago. And he lived on the coast of California, and he was used to eating really good sushi along the lines of,
Yep.
I don't know if he's ever eaten live octopus, but he's eaten some pretty adventurous things. And we went out for sushi here in Salt Lake City, and he asked if I had ever eaten sweet shrimp. And I said, no, what's it like?
What is that?
And so he was telling me what it's like, and it is pretty sweet, hence the name, but it's a raw shrimp, and it's served as nigiri usually,
Okay.
which is just those little rice fingers that they put the raw fish on.
Right on top. Yep.
And so when you look up sweet shrimp or see it usually in a restaurant, it's just like a raw shrimp tail, basically. And they're found several places, and so it's considered usually a sustainable seafood source.
Okay.
So that's cool. But usually these sweet shrimp are kept alive until they're needed, until you prepare it. And then, but you're still eating it raw. You're not cooking it, but you're just taking off the head and things like that.
Okay.
So it dies. And usually the fry, they'll take the heads and they'll fry them, and that's a separate delicacy in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So he really wanted this sweet shrimp and wanted me to try it with him. And so I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And I was like, well, I don't want to do it 2 separate times.
Right.
Like eat the fried head, eat the shrimp. And so we were sitting at the bar. So we talked to the sushi chef. And so he makes a special request, and the chef complies. And he brings out these beautifully fried shrimp, but it's a whole fried shrimp,
Okay. head
and all. And so I was like, okay. And I kind of see a little bit of movement because it's the whole shrimp. So, it's a prawn. So it's got these like little legs, if you will, the feet or whatever they are. And so they're kind of twitchy. And so I look at them.
But it's fried.
Sure. But apparently it was only flash fried for 30 seconds.
So it's not dead.
Not quite. It's
Really?
Stunned. So he's like, no, just trust me and chew. Once you pop it in your mouth, you have to chew a lot. So I popped it in my mouth and I chewed a lot, and basically I killed the shrimp in my mouth, but it didn't quite die until it was like in my esophagus.
Oh my goodness.
And you could feel the little leg things like against the inside of my cheeks.
That's so,
because it wanted out. So gross.
That is
Yeah.
scary.
That's
Sweet
my
shrimp.
sweet shrimp scary experience. So just get the tail. The tail is quite good. It is sweet. It's tasty. I recommend it. Don't
do the full on.
The live flash frying is disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
I will say that.
That is scary.
I've eaten plenty of gross things in my life. I've had haggis. I've had lots of terrible things. That's got to be one of the worst.
That are not dead yet is a little too unnerving to me, I think.
Yeah, like Monty Python. He's not dead. He's not quite dead yet. Come back next Tuesday.
It's unnerving to me. Yeah. Okay, well, I have one that the last thing that we're going to talk about is fugu, and you may know that as a blowfish or a puffer fish.
Mm.
And it is very, it's highly prized in the Japanese culture. And the tricky thing, though, is that if you were not preparing it correctly, you could kill yourself. One puffer fish alone can kill 30 people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because there's it's the intestines, the ovaries, the liver, the eyes all contain this particular toxin, tetrodotoxin, which is a sodium channel blocker, and that in a sense basically paralyzes the muscles while the victim is conscious still.
Oh my gosh.
But you're going to die of asphyxiation, because I can never say that word, because you are unable to breathe. It's your muscles are not helping you breathe anymore. So you die that way. So, and it is quite a bit, it's deadlier. It's like, they say it's 200 times deadlier than cyanide. And, it is, yes. And so the cool thing, I just want to tell you about this is that, not the cool thing, but the interesting thing about this. So people eat fugu. It's really quite sought after. Like,
why do they eat it?
Because it's supposed to have this very clean umami taste to it, and it is considered a delicacy. And so but it does require 2 to 3 years of training to properly clean and prepare a fugu. You have to go into an apprenticeship, and eventually when you get licensed, you have to pass a written test. You have to do a fish ID test. So you have to be able to tell differences between different fugu, because there are fugu that are non-poisonous. So you have to be able to identify those. And then there's a practical test where you have to prepare,
do you consume your
you
preparation?
do you
oh
can.
My gosh.
And why
would you ever do that?
Yeah, there's some comments about, like, there's been a couple of times when it resulted in death, and I was like, well,
they failed the test.
They failed the test. And I know,
oh man, that is a harsh consequence.
It totally is. And interesting fact is that it's not necessarily the puffer fish that produces this toxin. It's actually the bacteria that live in the puffer fish that kind of cohabitate with them and create the toxin. So you can find this tetrodotoxin in a few other things like octopus and crabs and shellfish and different frogs and stuff like that. But this puffer fish is specifically known to have quite a high amount of this, and you know what it is. So they did talk about in 1996, between 1996 and 2005, there were 315 cases of basically poisoning by fugu, and 31 of them were fatal. And the fugu is the only food the Emperor of Japan is forbidden to eat.
Well, yeah.
It totally makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You could totally take out the...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so... It's not.
You could start a coup.
Yes, it would not be good. So I thought that one was so interesting because it's when I watched some videos and kind of looked at some pictures and stuff. When they do this, they have they fillet the flesh really thin, so it's so thin. And then there's a few other things that they eat that are kind of interesting. I thought was, so they have an engorged sperm sac. That is apparently really good and milky and creamy and everything that are really good. But the thing that makes it a little dangerous, I think, is that it looks just like the ovaries, and those are deadly.
Oh.
So the ovaries are deadly, but the sperm sac is not. But the sperm sac is highly prized because, the taste and texture, and then also the meaning behind eating a sperm sac. I don't know.
That makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
So yeah, I thought fugu was so interesting that you could, if it's not prepared correctly, then you could kill yourself. And that's what usually ends up happening is people that are like, yeah, I can totally do this. And they're like home cooks, or people that are fishermen. They're like, yes, I can try this and do this by myself. And they don't have the wherewithal or the knowledge or the handling to separate the things that will kill you. So that's usually what ends up happening. So I thought that was a fun one. Ooh. Fugu that can kill you.
Yeah, that kind of rhymes.
Yeah. That was a fun topic.
It was.
There were so many fun things that were scary and deadly.
And the ghost stories of the people who have died. Ooh. Let's have a food fight.
Food fight, food fight, food fight, food fight. It's winter.
This is the segment where you can email us with your questions relating to food. And you can email us at hungrysquared@gmail.com.
Disclaimer, we are in no way professional relationship experts, but you should totally listen to us anyway. If you need professional help, however, please seek it out.
The food fight segment of the show. Here we go.
Okay, this is a good question this week.
Let's hear it.
Okay, it is, I am a small business owner and I go to a certain wholesale warehouse club once a week to stock up. I love it, but I don't love the traffic jams that happen surrounding the samples. Can you give your listeners sample etiquette tips, please? I'm tired of getting stuck behind the food rubberneckers. Signed, stuck between a brie and a hard place.
Oh my gosh, that was clever. I love that.
Thank you, clever listener.
Yes, that was awesome. Okay, well, let me see. I feel like there is sample etiquette.
Yeah. Well, what is your sample etiquette?
Okay, well, I love the samples. Love them.
I do too.
I will eat the samples all the time. And I think it annoys Lee because I'm like, yes, I'm going to try that random burrito. And yes, I'm going to try this cracker. And but he gets annoyed. So I will scope it out from afar. So like 10, 15 feet away, I'm looking around to see, first of all, do they have it cooked and ready to go?
Yeah, it's got to be ready before you go up there.
Yeah.
And I try not to go up with my cart.
Yes, and that's the other thing. You leave your cart aside, away from any of that sample area because there's always a traffic jam there. So you set it aside and then you sneak in, you sidle in.
Yep.
You grab one, grab two, whatever you're trying to grab, you grab them and you're out. And if you're
out.
And if you're like, I kind of like that product, then I'll maybe go back and talk to the person about what it is.
Well, but then you go on the other side because usually the samples are to one side of them. And then you go on the other side and sidle in and chat the person up.
Yes, exactly. So I think those are the ways to do it. Because when we were kids, we would eat samples. That was what we did for lunch sometimes.
I've gone to Costco for lunch many times.
Yeah.
For the samples.
For
free lunch.
So I think there's a way to do it. And then the key is to make sure you get that cart out of the way.
Yeah, get your cart out of the way and just kind of sneak in, sneak out.
Yeah.
It's in and out.
And
don't bring your cart.
Don't bring your cart. And the other last thing I would say is that know how many you're going for.
Yeah, you can't fumble at the last minute.
Yeah,
you
can't.
have to be decisive.
Yeah, you can't be like,
what if it's really good? Get two just in case.
Yeah. Or if you're with somebody, you're not going to turn around and be like, hey, do you want one? And you've created a traffic jam. So
no, you have to make those decisions before you go in for the kill.
Yeah. So be prepared. But once again, like the killer at those big box stores are the carts. So just move your cart out of the way and you can go eat your samples all you want. Don't bug the business owners that are trying to get their stuff done.
Yeah. Seriously, people.
Move your cart.
I think that's good.
I think that's good too. Okay, everybody, just take a note.
Make decisions first. Go when it's ready and put out and leave your cart.
Yes. I think that's good. I think we covered it.
Okay.
In and out.
Thanks for joining our show this week. We are really glad that you're listening. If you could leave us a rating and a review on iTunes or Stitcher, that would be awesome and we would love you forever. And it would also help other people find us.
Yay! And you guys, it's been fun because we have started to find some really fun people that have just loved being food nerds with us. So yay! It's been fun.
Okay, thanks. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hungry squared, yeah, hungry squared.